everybody, Linda here, the scrapbooking photographer. I'm joining in today on a hop run by Shannon, which is called The Next Big Thing, and every month throughout the rest of this year we'll be doing something big on our page. So this month it is to add a big photo. Now in Shannon's description she mentions 8 by 10. I've actually gone 8 by 12 with this elephant who was having a lovely bath and splashing water all over himself. I can't really trim it down to 8 by 10, I just think it would spoil it. So I'm going with 8 by 12, it's still big, so it's the next big thing. And it's going to be a really simple layout because the photo of course takes up most of the page. I was going to do some stenciling and some mixed media, and then in the pack of Botanical Textures designer series paper from Stampin' Up, I found this piece of paper, which is exactly what I was going to do in the background anyway, sort of thing, with the splashes. So that's what I'll use, but it also needs a little bit of black and some prettying up. So let's see how it all comes together. So because the photo takes up the whole width of the page, I'm just going to mount it top and bottom with a little bit of black. So I've cut 2 strips of black, and I'm just going to put the adhesive down one side of it, of each. And then use this so that we get a 1/2 inch on display. And that just helps me to get it kind of even. And the same down the bottom. It's very sticky. It'd be interesting to see what people come up with for this hop. It's a new one, as I say, and next month I think we're looking at using a big title. So that will be interesting as well. It leaves a lot less room for decorating and embellishment, which actually I don't mind because it's not a favourite pastime of mine. Okay, now I'm going to just run over that with my dauber because it's 2-tone cardstock and it has a white core. So I don't really want the white core shining through. So I'll just quickly whiz along there. And the bottom. Now for the title, this is going to go on to the white willow as a backdrop, but I'm going to put the title directly on here. I'll just mark where the bottom of the W is and the D, and then I'll bring this up so that it's near the edge. And then I only want the end free, so I'm going to do it in stages. Just to make sure I don't get the wild in there, I'll mask that off a little bit. Do the free word first. Just have to make sure it's level. It's not. Now I'll do this in black so that it shows up against that grey background. And then leaving that there, I need the and as well. So I'll just make sure that that's visible without anything else that's likely to make a mistake. I don't want to waste a whole piece of this beautiful paper. Okay, so that's and free, and then I'll come in with wild. And this time I don't want any part of the free or the and. So I'll cover those with the scrap paper. These elephants were amazing. It was in South Africa where I saw them in 2019, and we had whole herds come and stand around our safari truck, and they weren't worried about us, but some of their sizes was just a little bit disconcerting. Okay, so that's the heading done. Bring this back in here. Now I could just use this whole piece of paper, but I'm thinking I might want to keep some of it, so I'm going to trim it so that I can stick it onto the top. Okay. So we can stick this down. So the white willow in this case will completely disappear. And I've got another piece to go down the bottom. And then our image goes in the middle like so. I quite like using big format photos occasionally, particularly if you've got a companion page that you can fill up with smaller photos from the same time. Okay, so that goes in like that. And now obviously we need to add a few things. Oops, and I should have put some underneath that, but that's okay, we'll do it right now. So I've got these doilies, and I'm just going to whiz around with my pewter ink and take the white starkness away. Doesn't have to be even, it's just mainly to give it a little bit of a look to blend in with the page. Okay, and then I'll fold it in half to get an idea of where halfway is. Just be gentle, and I'll cut that in half. So what I'm thinking I'll do is pop this just underneath the edge here, and that fills up that gap quite nicely, and then I'll pop one down here. This one I might do that way, just because it doesn't fit the other way underneath, but it will fit that way quite well. Work on the top one first. First thing we need to do is stick it down. So they're quite fragile, so I'll just gently put some tape on it. And tuck it under the edge. Yeah, cool. Now I've got a couple of other little bits of ephemera. I've got this elephant here, which I thought would go well down there. So we'll stick that one down there as well. Okay, I'm just bringing it up to go above that black line, and then I'll put this elephant over the whole bit, so the doily becomes more of a support rather than a feature. And he's just walking into the page there. And then up the top I have stamped a sign that says "It's jungle out there." And I did it on the dark and on the light because I'm not sure which one I'm going to use. But I think what I'm going to do is make a sign out of this. So I'll just fussy cut around it and pop it on a post. Let's go around the outside of these with the dark ink. Sometimes it can be a bit tricky to get into the wee small corners. I think that's okay. Right, so that's just going to be a little sign like so. I've also cut out a little camera. It was a photographic safari I was on, which was the best way to go. It helped us get some great shots of the animal life. I'll just pop that in there. It's no journaling, there's no real room for journaling, so I'll do that on the companion page. And as I say, if you've got a companion page with other photos, and it might actually be this side, then it all kind of comes together quite nicely. So I'll just put a little bit of bling on. And I think these silvery sequins go quite well. I'll just put a couple down next to our big boy down the bottom. And then one big one up here. Thank you so much for watching today. I hope you've enjoyed that. If you have, perhaps you could push that subscribe button. If you're already a subscriber, thanks very much for your support. But if not, then I'd love to have you along on the journey. That's my page for this hop. Make sure you watch everybody else's. There'll be a link in the description below so that you can see how everybody else is getting big with their big photos. Thanks very much for watching. Happy crafting!